Oh hi! I'm David, and in today's episode of The Writing Show, we're going to be going over conflict types, with a brief explanation of them. Conflict is classified into 4 main types, and I've included some extra types at the end I consider noteworthy. First up is man versus man. This could be a direct or external conflict between two characters, such as a robbery, a fight, or murder, or it could be a more subtle conflict between conflicting desires of characters. Man versus self. This is an internal conflict where the character must change their way of being or choose between multiple paths or outcomes, good and evil, or logic and emotion. This is where the main character's opinions, way of thinking, and biases help form the story's central conflict. Man versus society. This is where the main character must make decisions in order to reach their goals that are complicated by tradition or societal rules. Society, in the case of conflict, could be an institution, whether it educational or political, a town, or an entire group of people, depending on the story. Man versus nature is an external conflict that pits man against an animal or natural forces such as a tornado, hurricane, or any other natural disaster, or simply surviving in the wilderness. It is sometimes argued that this is not a true classification type because nature has no free will and thus cannot make decisions or choices of its own. But I still thought it was important to mention anyway, as well as these other conflicts. Other conflicts that I think are important to consider are man versus technology or machine, where our main character could be in the most direct science fiction sense, fighting robots, where it would play out like a man versus man conflict, or our protagonist could be struggling to keep his job that a machine could do better, in which case his struggle would be against the machines, but his internal struggle would be against the society that built the machines. Man versus fate or the supernatural. This could be any story where your main character is going up against a god or gods, or supernatural events, though it's often considered an internal conflict or struggle if your main character is questioning morals or fate. If your gods are present in the story, like a lot of Greek or Roman mythology, then it would be a man versus fate or the supernatural. Same as if you're slaying vampires or aiming for zombie genocide. The supernatural element just has to be real in the story, because if the main character is hallucinating, then it's just a man versus self conflict, because the main character has lost their marbles. What conflicts are you using in your stories? Let me know in the comments. If you like today's content, don't forget to drop me a like. I hope this episode of The Writing Show helps you take the conflict in your story to the next level. So, until next time, write on.